Hey, Rambo, how are you?
Terence Monahan walked into the 4-6 in 1987 as a sergeant. 32 years later, he's Chief of Department.
It's a wild place back then, a lot different than it is now. In 1987, I think the New York Times did an article calling it the most dangerous square mile in America.
After signing into the precinct, speaking to the officers,
What's going on, man?
and a quick embrace with a friend from his old beat,
He would bring a lot of snacks and give us snacks every year for the time he was here. He did a lot for the community. He's a great guy.
Monahan spoke to us about the early days of his career, saying it wasn't unusual to hear shots fired nearby. Protests held outside the precinct during his first week as commanding officer. People he knew and looked up to attacked in the line of duty just days later.
Captain Steve Plavnik, my executive officer, was shot in the back. Sitting in his car, a couple of gangbangers went by, took a shot him in the back.
Monahan says when he took over as commanding officer in the 4-6, there were 37 homicides. Last year, he says, there were 9. He remembers 100 shootings then. Last year, 22. He credits the drop in crime here to neighborhood policing, making officers a part of the community, giving them discretion and a chance to know the good people and the bad in the neighborhood.
We were pulled by a person in that area that had recognized us from the area and pretty much told us what had happened, and she was a witness.
Officers Teresa Lustica and Mark Vukai of the 4-6 made a recent arrest after a shots fired call crediting neighborhood policing.
She said she felt comfortable with us enough to tell us exactly what happened.
Monahan says as he leads the NYPD forward, neighborhood policing will be a priority. But he also recognizes danger comes with the job. Outside the precinct, a street named for Detective Miosoti's familia. She was shot and killed in the line of duty while sitting in her vehicle just blocks away from the 4-6.
Lisa Tuzzulo says it best, where she tells you, say how much you love your family, how much you love the people in your life, because you never know when something could happen.
When asked about some of the criticism of the NYPD, Monahan says it's not all about the headlines, but what officers do every single day, encouraging people to go up and speak to a cop, something he does all the time.
I get to come out, I get to talk with the cops, I get to tell their story. I get to say the great things that they're doing. I get to lead the greatest police department in the world and the greatest city in the world. It is an absolute honor to do what I do.